right, guys, the Green Bay Packers come out week 6 victorious over the Cincinnati Bengals, 27-18, now moving to 3-1-1. Still doesn't feel right saying that one at the end, having a tie, and we're just going to have to add that to our record every single time we talk about it. A little unfortunate, but nonetheless, the Packers get a victory here, but there's still a lot to clean up for this football team. The Packers should have absolutely wiped the floor with this Cincinnati Bengals team. They should have done better on offense early. They should have done better on defense late in this game. But overall, a win is a win, and adding additional number to the win column is what matters early in this season. But what matters is how they play later in the season, then of course into hopefully the playoffs and hopefully into February. But there is still a lot to talk about today. So we're going to give a full breakdown of this game, go over my thoughts on offense, defense, special teams. First off, shout out Lucas Haversick. Just got to get that out of the way. We'll talk about it more, but going to give my instant thoughts and reactions to this game. Week 6 victory, Packers over Bengals. I don't know about you guys, but one of my biggest pet peeves is hidden fees when trying to buy sports tickets. Why can't the price I see listed actually be the price that I pay? If only there was an app where ticketing fees didn't exist. And that's why in today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor, TickPick. With over 20 million downloads, TickPick has you covered. NFL, NBA, concerts, festivals, you name it. TickPick gives you the lowest prices guaranteed, no fees. What you see is what you pay. The NFL season is in full swing, so it is a perfect time to find yourself some good Packers tickets. Right now, I'm currently looking at Giants versus Packers tickets in MetLife, as that is a stadium that's close to me, and there are some really great deals. And like I said, what you see on here is what you actually pay, no hidden fees. TickPick also has your back. Each ticket is backed with their buyer trust guarantee, so you know your tickets are also legit. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You guys can use code HMA to get $20 off your first set of tickets at TickPick with an order over $100. That's $20 off any tickets with promo code HMA. Make sure to go click the link down in the description to download the app, and the code will be automatically added to your account to get that $20 off. Again, a massive shout out to TickPick for sponsoring this video. All right, so now back into the video. Let's first dive down into this Packers defense. Early on, didn't allow a single point against the Bengals and Joe Flacco, and it just felt eerily similar to that Browns game. Like, didn't allow a point the whole first half, up 10-0, and I'm like, oh man. And we go into the second half, and I feel like Joe Flacco just simply found too much success against this defense. First half was awesome. I feel like the Bengals couldn't do anything. I don't even think they got into the Packers' territory in the first half. But second half, they started to take advantage of the Packers playing a cover 3 zone, and they started to throw quick stick routes, quick stop routes on the outside, quick out routes on the outside. And given you don't want to let up the big play against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and in weeks prior with Jake Browning at quarterback, all teams were playing cover 3 against the Bengals, and it worked. But the Packers, more than anyone else, should know that Joe Flacco doesn't play like Jake Browning. Joe Flacco is going to take what you give him. If you're going to give him a 4-yard stick route, he's going to throw the 4-yard stick route. And that simply also allows him to really navigate pressure well. The Bengals have the worst offensive line in the NFL, and I feel like having 1 sack in this game is inexcusable. Now, the Packers did end up with a ton of pressures. They had 17 pressures, but just like Cleveland, you got to complete pressures into sacks, right? And Joe Flacco, don't get me wrong, he's great at navigating pressure. He's really good at getting out of sacks, throwing a quick pass, or simply throwing it into space out of bounds before getting sacked. So I will say a lot of that was because of Joe Flacco. And if it was Jake Browning, I honestly think we would have had like 4 or 5 sacks in this game. But it's not Jake Browning. They traded for Joe Flacco, who you just played 2 games prior. Like, you should know what he wants for offense. He's not going to wow you with any crazy throws deep. The Bengals rarely went vertical in this game. And overall, Flacco just found too much success. 29 of 45, 219 yards, a 4.9 average, 2 touchdowns, and a 90.9 rating. Like, Joe Flacco statistically was a bottom of the league quarterback before the trade. and was, I believe, second or third in interceptions. And the fact that we didn't get a single turnover against Flacco is a big concern. And a big concern for this defense is that we still can't create turnovers. The Packers defense is second worst in turnovers created with just 2, and the New York Jets are the worst with just 1, who got their first today on a fumble recovery. Like, it can't keep going like this. The Packers defense is a good defense, but we need to create turnovers. Right? Last year, we had a ton of interceptions, mainly because of Xavier McKinney, who hasn't been playing too hot to start the season, if I'm being completely honest. We need to create more turnovers. We need to stop playing so relaxed on defense. Like, we're kind of just allowing the short throws, and I think that's why we're not getting turnovers. We're not forcing a guy like Joe Flacco to, say, throw one up against man coverage and beat us. Now, he did a couple times in this game, and it's simply because Jamar Chase is one of the best receivers in the NFL, especially on that late touchdown. It was great coverage by Keyshawn Nixon. It was man coverage. The Packers rotated into cover 1, and it was a good call. It was good coverage. It was just an even better catch by Jamar Chase. So I liked the Packers running man coverage later in this game, and simply Jamar Chase just made a few amazing catches. But when it mattered on like 3rd and 5, even 4th and 5, a lot of the time we were just giving up a quick slant, a quick stick route, a quick stop route at the sticks. Like Carrington Valentine let up some. Keyshawn Nixon let up some. Javon Bullard early let up a slant on a crucial 3rd down. It's like, you know what they want. They're going to throw to the sticks. Force Joe Flacco to throw one 10, 15 yards plus, and you'll likely come out on the winning end of that. But the Packers, I feel like, just didn't do a good job at that. They were sending pressure, but they weren't getting home because Flacco could simply take the snap, take a 2-step drop, and fire it to an open tight end, running back, or a receiver on a quick route. So want to see more out of this defense. I really liked what I saw from Warren Brinson, who got his debut today. I saw him early, obviously, with Devontae Wyatt being out of this game. We need a new starting 3-tech, and Carl Brooks, Warren Brinson kind of rotated around there, and Brinson ended up with 2 pressures in this game. Had one early that forced an incompletion on 3rd down from Joe Flacco, so I really liked that. Packers in the first half had a ton of tackles for loss. They were swarming, but then they got a little tired, I think, in the second half, and the effort didn't seem to be there. Like, the Bengals were getting a lot of push up front with the worst offensive line. Running backs were getting extra yards after contact because they were getting the pile pushed, and it's like, you want to see that from the Packers defense. You want to see what you saw in the first half in the second half, and not allow this Bengals team the success that they had running the football in the second half. Now, overall, they still only had 55 yards running. They're the worst team in terms of running offense. They average like 58 a game, and they didn't even make it to that mark in this game. They averaged 3.4 yards per carry. So I can't be super, super mad at that. But overall, Chase Brown averaged 4.7 per carry. And if the Bengals were in a closer game or had the lead at any point, I think they would have ran more and maybe found more success. I think overall, missing Devontae Wyatt is a big thing, and I'm really hoping he can return sooner rather than later. They were running a lot of different unique pressures, simulated pressures. We had a lot of Micah Parsons in the A-gap on 3rd downs, which I love to see. I really do love to see. And for anyone saying Micah Parsons did nothing in this game, he led the team with pressures, 5, but you would like to see him get some sacks. But again, Joe Flacco getting rid of the ball so quickly, that's a whole nother story. And Micah Parsons, there were multiple times that it looked like there was holding, and this ref crew just simply wasn't calling holding on either offensive line, and both offensive lines definitely got away with some holds in this game. But, Micah Parsons just continues to, get held out there, but he still made some plays, pressuring Joe Flacco, creating, issues for Flacco. I still think it was a really great game. He's actually right now the highest graded defender via PFF for this Packers defense. It was awesome seeing Lucas Van Ness getting his first sack in this game, first sack of the season in this game, really timed that one perfectly. But overall, I just think the Packers needed to play more aggressive in this game, and they needed to create turnovers. Like, allowing a Joe Flacco-led offense to drain 10 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock to start the second half is inexcusable. Like, that can't happen with the amount of talent we have on this defense. Like, if it's the Lamar Jackson-led Ravens and they do that, you're like, okay, you see it. But to let Joe Flacco in this Bengals offense with the worst offensive line and no run game to speak of in this season, allow them to go 10 minutes, 15 seconds, end up in a 4th and goal and convert that to a 3rd-string tight end, it's just a little embarrassing. And this defense, I feel like, just needed to play more aggressive. And I feel like going forward, next week they could be playing another backup quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, and they need to play more aggressive. All right, so now we got to talk about this Packers offense. Before we do so, I want to quickly go over my sleeper picks from this game, and I was oh so close. If you want to check out sleeper, link down in the description. Use code BASS when signing up and get a 100% deposit match up to $100. They're also running a new awesome promo. New users get a free $20 play, no deposit needed. So if you want to go check out Sleeper, you've been on the fence, you'll get a free $20 play without even having to deposit. So you might as well go check it out. I had Jordan Love with a free pick. That obviously hit. Matthew Golden, 45.5. Can't wait to talk about him because he had his breakout day today. Still no touchdown, but had his breakout day. All right, Chase Brown, less than 45.5 rushing yards. He was just under that with 42. And the only thing I missed on was a Micah Parsons sack. And it's like you fully expected one in this game. And that just, goes back to what I was saying about the defense. We needed to get more pressure in this game. But if you want to go make your picks for the Monday night game or set them up for next week's game or college football, you can go do that on Sleeper. Definitely go check them out. All right, so now for this Packers offense. First half, score 10 points, right? It's fine. Gets a little stagnant at times, and you're like, why are we running so many lateral throwing plays, orbit motions, swing passes? And it's like, you got to trust Jordan Love. You got to trust these wide receivers, and it definitely opened up in the second half. First, we'll just talk about that opening drive because, it's a bad read. It's a bad look for Jordan Love. It's 3rd and 5. He's got to know situational football just a little bit better. It's 3rd and 5. You're in field goal range. You can't throw that into double coverage, given it's a very unlucky play. It gets tipped up by a defender, but there was 2 guys in the vicinity of Romeo Doubs. If it's 4th and 5, I don't mind that. You have to try to make a play. But it's 3rd and 5. You got to throw that thing away. You got pressure instantly, and that happened a couple times early in this game. Like, Bengals got pressure on like a 3-man rush on a 3rd down. It's just like, man, what is going on out there? Luckily, they cleaned it up in the second half. But in terms of that interception, got to play better situational football if you're Jordan Love and throw that thing out of bounds and just get your 3. It's fine. Just get your 3. Your defense ended up getting an instant stop and didn't allow a yard, and you got the ball back, and then you could have went up 10-3. You know what I mean? So it's like, got to play better situational football. But past that, I think Jordan Love had a phenomenal game. Outside of that play, there's only one other play that I was like, oof, for Jordan Love, and that was the miss to Luke Musgrave, which luckily there's no defender in the vicinity because it was way over his head. But then you had Jordan Love follow it with a dime to Matthew Golden on a 9 route. So that's kind of what you get from Jordan Love. But he finished the day 19 of 26, 259, 10 yards per throw, which is great. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, did get sacked once, and had a quarterback rating of 101.3. I think, again, Matt LaFleur just needs to let Jordan Love cook. Enough of this lateral orbit screens and swing passes. When it mattered, he was going to Romeo Doubs and Matthew Golden down the field. Whether it was Romeo Doubs on a dig route, quick slant route, strong hands making a catch for a first down, or is Matthew Golden on the 9 route or the deep crosser to essentially win this game. When it mattered, Jordan Love was going 10 yards plus vertically and trusting his wide receivers and making a hell of a throw. And that's what we need more of in this offense, man. Matthew Golden, super impressive in this game. Definitely a breakout game, although only 3 catches for 86 yards, a 28.7 average. You love to see it. The 9 route, beautiful throw. Matthew Golden is so good with late hands, body control around the sideline, and he has strong hands. And you saw that on that 9 route and that crucial, I think it was a 3rd down. Then late in this game, the Bengals have a chance to potentially win this game with a touchdown, and you have a 3rd down in your own territory. And if you don't get it, you punt away to the Bengals and give them a chance to win this game. But you find Matthew Golden on a crosser who, albeit was in double coverage, but he did a veteran move and cut underneath the safety back towards the football to give Jordan Love an option and attack that football and found the open zone. It was an absolute veteran move by Matthew Golden, and you can see why he deserves all the snaps on this offense. And the one thing I will say about him is Matt LaFleur needs to stop making him a backfield guy. Every once in a while, if you want to give Matthew Golden an end around because he has dangerous speed, I'm fine with that. But enough of the 2 cute plays for Matthew Golden. When you watched him at Texas, you didn't think backfield creator. That's what you think of Savion Williams coming out of TCU, which give him those snaps. Matthew Golden, what you saw on tape, was a downfield separator that would make catches contested or simply just burn his man in clutch situations. When the Texas offense needed it, they went to Matthew Golden. And that's what the Packers need to do with him. They need to start using him like a Jackson Smith and Jigba out of the slot because we're without Jane Reed for the foreseeable future. Matthew Golden can separate at an extremely high level. He has strong hands, great body control, and he has tremendous speed. Use him vertically, or at least 10 yards plus down the field, in deep in-breaking routes, post routes, corner routes, deep crossing routes like we saw in that clutch fourth quarter play. That's how we should be using Matthew Golden, and we saw a big glimpse of it today, and I hope it continues. And sooner rather than later, he's going to get his touchdown, and he's going to crack 100 yards consistently. I fully believe he will. Josh Jacobs was our second leading receiver, 5 for 57. Loved seeing the Packers hit him after play action up the middle. And when you give Josh Jacobs the ball in his hands, an open field against a couple defenders, he will make a couple guys miss. And overall, Jacobs had a phenomenal day. 18 carries, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 5.2 average. The Packers' offensive line finally found success blocking up the middle. And I think in part it was because Jordan Morgan got on a hot streak. They started him at right guard, started to swap out Sean Ryan and him every other drive, but then I think they started to really go heavy Jordan Morgan late in this game because he got hot. And both him, Aaron Banks, and Elton Jenkins, they were doing an exceptional job blocking up the middle. And finally, we saw some run game up the middle get to the second level. Like all year long before this game, we'd run up the middle and it would be like a 2-yard gain, 3-yard gain contacted by the linebackers, getting no blocks on the linebackers. In this game, we saw it finally hit the second level where Jordan Morgan would put a block on a defensive lineman, reach up to the second level, get to a linebacker, and that was the case on that 14-yard touchdown run by Josh Jacobs. So exceptional day by the interior offensive line in terms of run blocking, a breath of fresh air, something I haven't been able to say most of this season. So really, really good to see that. The whole entire offensive line, starting offensive line, finally got to play together, I think for the first time since, week 1? Now, Zach Tom kind of had a rough outing, in my opinion, against Joseph Asai early, was getting beat pretty often. It helps Trey Hendrickson left this game with a back injury. Obviously, you don't want injuries, but it definitely helped the Packers offense. Rasheed Walker, I think, led the team in pressures allowed, so still kind of struggling out there a little bit. But overall, it's nice to see all these guys play through a game fully and stay healthy, seemingly, right? We'll see if there's any injuries that pop up or they jump back on the injury report because of their pre-existing injuries. But it was really nice to see that. And hopefully this offensive line can return to the level they were at weeks 1 and 2 and continue to build the consistency and continuity. Another thing that I absolutely loved the adjustment of in the second half, and it's something I've been like banging the table all year for, is under center play action. Because it can do so much for your offense, especially if you're running so well under center, because you're showing the defense that, hey, we're going to run it right at the middle and we're going to get success. And then you rotate off of that and give some play action. You're going to have a clean pocket. You're going to be able to rotate your pocket. You're going to be able to get a slide flat receiver like Tucker Kraft on the touchdown wide open. And I really loved the amount of under center play action in this game. I don't like shotgun. I mean, I do on occasion. I absolutely despise pistol. I don't mind orbit stuff from time to time, but, giving a handoff to Bo Melton, we all love Bo, but is it really necessary? Just get under center and run the damn ball right in their face with Josh Jacobs and make them stop it. And that's really what they started to do in the second half. So I was really happy to see that. And then rotate off of it, go into play action, especially on that second down late in this game. Play action, boot, right? Jordan Love ends up running. Would have liked to see him dive there for the first down rather than slide and make it 3rd and 2. Nonetheless, it's a play that I like because it's like you still can have the option to pass, but you can still run and continue to chew the clock and hopefully pick up a first down. Would have liked to see Jordan Love do the old week 2 lower the shoulder on a defensive back there like he did Trey Amos in week 2. But, it is what it is. The Packers ended up luckily making that field goal to make it a 2-score game and put it out of reach. So, but overall, man, I loved the second half adjustment by this offense to really kind of get out of the whole lateral orbit stuff a ton, which Matt LaFleur just loves dearly, and just get back to running some power football, running down their face, running play action, trusting your wide receivers vertically. Really love to see that. So in terms of special teams, still have some concerns there. I like Savion returning kicks. I liked what I saw also Bo Melton, the kick he did return for 36 yards. Punt return is still just a massive question mark. Like, we have Matthew Golden back there. Don't know why. Like, just try Savion or Bo. Like, they're both our kick returners. They're doing a decent job, and I think both can make plays with the ball in their hand, especially Savion. It's like, why are you putting Matthew Golden back there? He's clearly not comfortable. He's fair catching it when he doesn't need to. And then once he comes off a punt return, you put Romeo Dobbs, who has, like, a ton of concussions in his career, is wearing a Guardian cap. Like, I know Savion's wearing a Guardian cap, but Romeo's wearing it because he kind of has to. Like, he's had that many concussions. I don't like seeing him back there at punt return. It's still a massive, massive question mark. But I like that the Packers found success finally blocking for field goals. Haversick was perfect on the day, which is so big for him to come in short notice and just be clutch for us. Like it essentially won us the game, right? 2 for 2 from field goals, 3 for 3 from extra points. You can't ask for more from Lucas Haversick. And I hope once McManus is healthy, this lands him a kicking job on another team, because it 100% should. The only real consistent thing on special teams throughout the season so far has been Daniel Whelan, who's playing at an all-pro level. And if he doesn't get all-pro, I'm going to probably crash out, because it's ridiculous, because Daniel Whelan is absolutely insane. 2 punts today, 91 yards, 45.5 average, a long of 56. Daniel Whelan's been outstanding. There were a couple penalties on special teams, but it looked a lot better. It looked better, but there still are some concerns and question marks there. Then to finalize some stuff, 3 injuries to go over to end this game. Lucas Van Ness got carted off on that 4th and goal, I think right after his sack, or 2 plays after his sack, with a foot injury. He was questionable to return, surprisingly, but didn't return. Something to monitor. Tay Wicks left with an ankle injury. I didn't see him return. And Javon Bullard left with a concussion. Obviously didn't return. That's something huge to monitor. Bullard had concussion, I think, week 2. You don't like to see multiple concussions within a few weeks. It's definitely not good. And Bullard was on fire in this game, in my opinion, around the line of scrimmage, playing the run really well, playing screens really well early. So he's a big part of this defense, and hopefully this isn't something that continues to happen and sets him back. But that does it for my game recap, reaction, review of this Packers win, 27-18 to the Bengals. Again, there's still some stuff to clean up, but a win is a win, right? The Packers are still 3-1-1. They're heading to Arizona to take on probably Jacoby Brissett. It seems like that foot injury is pretty significant for Kyler Murray, but they also looked pretty good today. They looked pretty good. The Cardinals didn't win, but they remained competitive against this Colts team that's now 5-1, and they only lost 31-27. And some would say that the Cardinals offense kind of looked better with Jacoby Brissett. So hopefully the Packers can go into this game and just play that a little bit more physical, not give the easy stuff to Brissett like they did today with Joe Flacco. But I really appreciate you guys coming by to this video. My light just died. Perfect timing, I guess, into the darkness here, but I really appreciate you coming by. If you want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers, go and click that subscribe button. You won't regret it. Hit the like button down below. I'll catch y'all tomorrow for the PFF review. And as always, go Pack Go.